So what happened at that meeting? It was one of the fateful days of my life. Henry told me about how he grew up, how he always felt inadequate at school, how he was always a poor performer in school, how he always was made to feel less than. And it was so touching and so moving to me, because here's a person who clearly has achieved on every single level, on acting, writing, producing, directing, and yet his self-image was formed by those early years in school when he couldn't succeed because he was dyslexic. So
it was like I was a duckling imprinting on what everybody had said about me, which was really not the truth. Not being able to do geometry has nothing to do with the thoughts you have and your imagination and your tenacity.
how did you get into, you went to Yale Drama School. How did that happen?
I went to the Yale Drama School, but I didn't have to take a math test. I did 2 monologues. One of them was a modern, which I remembered. The other was Shakespeare, Launce and the Dog. I forgot it a third through and literally improvised Shakespeare. And they said, okay.
Wow, it's amazing. Well, I was so touched by you hear the emotion of these kinds of stories, and I was so touched by it that I thought this would be a wonderful series for children, to star a child who had all the right attributes. He was smart and resourceful and handsome and creative and funny and popular, and yet had a terrible self-image because he was failing in school. So we developed a character named
Hank Zipzer. This is the very first book that we ever wrote together. That is my teacher, the Miss Adolph. I think she was related. And that is Mr. Love in the other corner, the principal of PS 87. It's the school I went to that Hank goes to, and there it is. And when I saw that book, and I held it for the first time, and I saw my name on it with Lynn's, I literally could not believe that my name was on a real book. And I smelled it and I rubbed it all over my body. I am, and still, when we finish a novel, I am out of my mind that it exists.
And I can attest to that. There's a lot of novel rubbing that goes on in our office, because these are such emotional moments for Henry, because he's doing something he never thought that he could do. So we then proceeded to write 18 middle grade novels called Hank Zipzer, World's Best Underachiever. And they've sold, I think, 5 million copies. So they clearly answered a need in America for.
And they are in, I think they're in 9 languages.
Oh, really? That's great. Excellent. I didn't know that, but good. And then we did a spin-off series called Here's Hank, which are chapter books. And it's a story of Hank before he is officially diagnosed as dyslexic. Yeah. Henry, open the book a little bit and we'll see. So those books are published in a font called Dyslexie, which is an actual typeface that makes it easier for kids with reading issues to actually decode the page.
It makes your eye and the page friendly. I wish I had this when I was growing up. It was devised by a dad in Holland who is a graphic designer for his children who were dyslexic. So he made it easier. And Lynn, you always describe the why, because he made.
Well, dyslexic kids have the letters float on the page. They don't, and they reverse themselves. So he made the ascending strokes, like for D and F, higher, and the descending strokes, like a G or a J, lower. And then he also increased the spacing between the words, and then he leaded the bottom of the letters more heavily, so they're more grounded on the page, so they don't float around as much. Yeah. Does that work for you, Henry? When you look at that, it looks better?
It was a revelation.
Yeah.
I mean, and every time I show it to anybody, they go, "Oh my goodness, you can!" It's just amazing that I wish I had it. But here he is, is standing in the library of PS 87. Can I just say a short story? So I'm at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and I see Timothée Chalamet, and I went up to him and I said, you know what, I have to give you a hug because you are so good at what you do. And he said, you know, I went to PS 87. And when I was in the 4th grade, you came and you read your books to us. I was in the auditorium. I thought, oh my God, the circles of living. I just makes me great. I love that story.
I love it too.